All right, we should be recording, and everyone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Another thumbs up if you can see my screen, and we are good to go. All right, so of course, if you want to take out your 4K cameras that double as a phone and shoot that QR code, you can also go directly to the slides that we're going to go through. But I want to make sure I provide that. But again, I think everyone in this group knows me, past district governor 2016-17, and there's a picture of me riding the 107 miles. That was pretty tough. Anyway, as public image coordinator for Zone 34, as I mentioned, I started that July 1st, 2020. I have a great team that supports the zone. We have Kelsey Mitchell, William Ennis, and Kimberly Walden. These three folks, in the past, we were more geographically aligned because back in the past, we weren't, there was no pandemic and everything was visiting clubs. With the new normal in virtual meetings and being able to go anywhere at any time, these folks are available to speak to your clubs at any time about any subject. We have a number of subjects that we speak on quite often. And nowadays, it's easier for us to speak around some of the skills that our various team members have. Kelsey's really good at video. William does a lot with the logo. So please invite these folks to come and visit your clubs. I'm going to go straight to this link because this has all of the information that all of the resources that we make available to the zone, or to the zone. Yeah. And actually in the rotaryshares.org, I'm putting that flyer that you just saw on the screen. You can also go directly to it by going to rotaryshares.org/team flyer. But I know one of the key things that Davey asked us to speak on today is the Rotary citation, what we have put together this year for the Rotary Public Image Citation. And I'm going to stop that share, and I'm going to start a new share where we're going to share, where is it at? Here it is. Okay, so if you go to rotaryshares.org/blog, you come to some of the resources that we put together on a regular basis. One of the things that we put up a couple of months ago was this public image citation blog post. And just wanted to talk to you all about this because I think there was a little bit of confusion. We like to do things a little bit differently. We like to shake things up, not do things the way that they've always been done. In the past, the zone coordinator would typically send out a nice shiny brochure early in the year, and it would be the public image citation for the coming year. And in that citation, there'd be all these different things, checklists, boxes, and stuff that you had to accomplish throughout the year to secure the public image citation. What we found is a lot of folks in July, August, September really did a whole lot of work, and then they maybe forgot about it in October, November, December, January, February. And then in March, the board says, hey, aren't we supposed to be getting that public image citation? Let's do a bunch of work, to make sure we get that award. And so there's a lot more work to make sure everyone met all the criteria. And then in April, we gave out the citations. Our goal this year was to be more of a drip, to do kind of a consistent, if there's one thing that we've learned, that it goes back to even social media. Don't post and ghost. Don't do a whole lot of posting and then go away for a while. It's that consistency. It's being there constantly. You gain more by being consistent. And so that's kind of our thought around the public image citation too, is we have put together a series of monthly tasks that we're asking clubs to do in order to achieve the citation. The double benefit of this process is a lot of the things that we have made tasks are repeatable processes that every club should do every year as they're planning goals and setting up their plans for the year. So you may remember in July, we sent out the first task, and we have the whole list down here at the bottom. It was to register for the public image citation. And that was a pretty easy process. We just asked for your public image chair's name for your club and email address, because again, we want to have a conversation with the clubs. So often we found it's very difficult to get to the club level, but we all know that's where all the work happens in Rotary. It happens at the club level. We're having a real hard time speaking to clubs. So we've gained a lot of public image chair names and email addresses now so we can have those conversations. But we also asked for an audit of all your social media channels. your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, if you have it, your website. We just want to, have all that information so that we can share it with others and let others, see what you're doing, and also keep up with all the clubs in the zone, and kind of get a feel for what everyone's doing. But also, we want to learn from you guys. There's one thing that we've learned, and that's that no one knows everything about public image or social media or communications. And if they tell you they do, they're not following the four-way test. We learn from each other, and we are always learning from each other. So that was the first task in July. In August, we asked all the clubs to put together a content calendar. The purpose of the content calendar is essentially to chunk your work. It's a lot easier to have a plan and then follow the plan than at the last minute think, oh my gosh, I haven't posted anything in 3 weeks. What am I going to put up there? We know that today is World Polio Day. We knew that on July 1st when we were starting this process. We know that this week it's very important that we talk about polio. We know that next month is Foundation Month, and we should be talking about the wonderful things that our foundation does around the world. A lot of you have annual fundraisers. You know when that's going to happen every year. Well, maybe not this year, a little bit different, but you know that you have certain events in your club that happen at the same time every year, and you can plan for that. We also know that, the Rotary International has different themes for the months, and we can talk about that. So the plan was to put together this content calendar for 12 months to kind of lay out a plan of how you can post something on a regular basis and be prepared, and maybe even have a stockpile of posts ready to go. So you don't have to wait until the last minute to think, when am I going to post this week? The last part of it was the public image plan. And in the public image plan, that was the task for September. We asked clubs to tell us about your strategy for this year. What does your committee look like? Do you get a budget? What is your planned frequency for posting to Facebook, to your website, to Twitter? We want to understand what is your plan and how do you plan to pull all of this together. But see, these first three pieces are foundational to every year as a Rotary Club in your public image strategy. Every year you need to go do an audit. Who has the password to the Facebook page or the Twitter page? What are we going to post every month? And who's on the committee? And how are we going to get our work done? So these first 3 months were really something that we want to create as a sustainable process, something that's institutionalized in every Rotary Club, because we've seen it in the past. Some years you have a really strong public image chair, you go gangbusters. The next year, that public image chair maybe wasn't all that, and things kind of slide. But we know that consistency is key. And if we are consistent and we use these processes and we have people surrounding that public image chair, we'll have success as we tell the Rotary story. We're getting ready to send out the task for October. The reason why we've waited is because today is the day, the whole focus of the October task. Essentially, we're going to ask all the clubs in the zone, what did you do for World Polio Day? Did you post? Did you have an event? Did you, I know the clubs down in Flagler County have had 3 proclamations this week around World Polio Day to create awareness. So we're going to be asking folks, what did you do to support World Polio Day? Because it's so important that we tell the story of what Rotary has been doing for the last 35 years, that we just became polio free in Africa, that we only have 2 countries left, and we're so close to eradicating polio. So this month is all about World Polio Day. Next month, we'll have a couple more tasks, December. And, these first 3 months were kind of challenging. They were pretty tough tasks, but that was intentional because we really wanted you to think about what you're going to be doing this year with your public image strategy. With that, let's see, let me stop that share and we'll go back to the slide deck real quick. I think I've only got a couple more slides. So share screen and we'll go back to this one. All right. So again, those are the resources. I provided the link in the chat so you can go straight to the slide deck in case you can't write this down very fast. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, and that is your zone team is constantly putting together content and putting together things to help you with your content strategy and your public image strategy. Monday night, we are doing a webinar, and we've had some really great webinars to date around Canva and around how to plan your World Polio Day event. Monday night, we're going to talk about video and the importance of video in Rotary's public image strategies, how to use maybe how to use TikTok or how to use time-lapse photos or photos of events and stuff like that. So if you haven't registered yet, please go register for that webinar. Again, it's Monday night at 6 p.m. Kelsey Mitchell and District Governor from 6900, Kirk Driscoll, are going to be speaking at that webinar. And I think they're going to be talking about some streaming strategies too. We all know that streaming is a big part of the world right now with the pandemic. And so we're going to be talking about some streaming strategies as well. The last thing is always, there's lots of resources on the Brand Center. Be sure to go check that out for the appropriate logos and templates and stuff like that. And again, finally, Rotary opens opportunities. Looking forward to seeing all the great things that our district is going to do this year around public image and to tell that Rotary story. And again, it supports those 3 keys that we talked about earlier this morning. It helps make your club strong, vibrant, and relevant. With that, I'll hand it back to you, Carolyn. Davey, thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Marshall. That is exactly what we needed. We needed just this clear vision of the citation, and honestly, media and the landscape that we know, is what? It's inexpensive, it's global, it's social, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So Carolyn today is going to join us and talk to us a little bit about what we're going through in the day in the life of a pandemic, and how to get through social media and how to get through internet trolls. I mean, we have to deal with it. Everyone's opinions out there, but really kind of focusing on the mission of Rotary and the public image of a successful club. So without further ado, Carolyn, let us know.
Hi guys, we do have a question. Oh, Marshall already took care of the question in the chat. Okay, the question was how to sign up for the webinar, and Marshall's got it covered. So today I'm going to talk to you about essentially what amounts to reputation management. If you've got a social media account, I'm going to basically, I guess I'll focus on Facebook, but this is going to be true with other platforms as well. And this is free advice. So you can use this not just with Rotary, but maybe even with your business. So people are going to look at Rotarians as leaders. So with that in mind, you always want to present yourself in a leadership way, in a role that people can follow. Now, since we're in a pandemic, it gets a little touchy sometimes with people that are like too close together or whatnot, if they're not maintaining social distance. So just consider that. I know it's kind of a personal preference for people, but just given the climate of the day, take care with what you present. So your club's page on Facebook is considered to be a business page. So people can like your page, and you can control who is there and how long they stay. Has anyone had an issue with someone doing something that you didn't like on your page? Raise your little hand if you have. Okay, so Davey so far that I could see. Anyway, you have options. So your options might be to delete a post or to hide a post or to block somebody if they're especially troll-like. And oftentimes there are people make an innocent mistake. I know that we had someone accidentally post something political to the district page a year or so ago. And it was, he didn't really realize what he was doing. So something like that, you just delete. But, if someone is consistently doing things that are inappropriate, you may wish to block them. Now, the most important thing you can do when you, like Marshall was saying, don't ghost anybody when you post, is that you need to have a consistent presence on that page to manage all the likes and the shares and the comments. So if someone likes a post, you can click on the little place where it shows you how many people have liked the page and invite them to like your page if they haven't already. You'll get notifications from Facebook as well. And if you download, there's an app called Facebook Pages app, and you can get that, put it on your phone, and you will get notifications of all the likes, clicks, or shares and comments and whatnot. and be able to manage those. It's good to do it at least once a day, and consider maybe having, 2 people manage your page for your club, or even more. So just respond quickly, and even if somebody is nasty, be diplomatic if at all you can. Now, one thing, it's good to avoid conflict and to be professional. One thing, if somebody does a review on your page, you can't remove it. And oh, I see that we have something from Anita in the chat. We had a person on Facebook buy some event tickets to one of our events and try to resell them at a profit, quickly addressed outside of Facebook. Yeah, you got to take control, because it is your page, and your reputation is everything. So so a negative review can't be removed. So you have to respond in a way that is not condescending, but explains your point. And many times it kind of does make the person doing the negative review, you got to consider the source. I mean, sometimes it makes them look kind of silly when they do something negative like that. You can also report harassment and stuff like that to Facebook by clicking on the little 3 dots. Always look for the little 3 dots next to a comment if you need to do something. And also take a look at the person's profile before you interact with them if there's something that's inappropriate, because you can kind of figure out what they're like. It's very interesting, because in managing social media professionally, I find that the trolls on Facebook, a lot of times they hardly have any friends. So, I don't know if it's someone that doesn't care what people are saying, or if it's, or they don't care what they say, or if they are just trying to be mean. So, a lot of times people are using social media for negative purposes and to just be grumpy. So you have those options. If you decide to block somebody, you kind of have to be careful about when you make that decision. Sometimes hiding them is the best option, or temporarily hiding that post before you delete it, to let the person cool off. Because if you've really annoyed somebody, they may get all their friends to bomb your reviews. This type of thing happened to a divorce attorney in Jacksonville Beach over the subject of permanent alimony. And they had, it ruined their page. They had hundreds of negative reviews, and you just can't really fight those when they're on a scale like that. But, just remember, you're doing customer service. If you've made a mistake, admit it. And, somebody's not really adept at Facebook, give them a break. So does anybody have any questions?
Well, I actually have a question. So if you get somebody that, has an agenda on your page, what's a really good way to pivot? Maybe invite them to a virtual call with their club so they can understand a little bit about your club's culture?
Well, yeah. And you could also send them a private message and try to have a nice conversation with them and see how you can find the middle. Because this is about being diplomatic and saving that person, saving the Rotarian, or bringing somebody in as a Rotarian or something like that. So if that person is somebody you want to have. So does that help? Anybody else? Wow. Okay. Well, I either did great.
Go ahead, Sam.
I was either complete, or it's pretty easy, I think. And you probably won't really have any big
Carolyn,
problems.
we've got a question from Sam.
Oh, where is Sam's question?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to verbally do it because I can't type fast enough.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So, sometimes if someone uses the website as a financial advisor to try to broker a deal, or someone wants to sell some real estate and they put it on our website, I'm just using those as examples. How do we tactfully deal with that?
You mean on your social media page?
Yes.
Well, I think that, being direct is a good thing. Would it be a club member or just someone else?
If anyone were to do that.
Anyone.
But I would target club members specifically.
Yeah, I think that, taking them back to basics on Rotary about how there's a place for it, and it's Rotary Means Business is a place for trying to connect with other people on their business level. It's really not appropriate on your Facebook page. And just talk to them.
Exactly. Do you see how she pivoted there? She gave you the facts of the rules of our Facebook page as a club. And then she also gave you a proactive solution. But let me introduce you to Will Barnes, who helps us with Rotary Means Business. And this will be a way for you to connect with other Rotarians with your business purposes. That's a great B2B networking opportunity for that person. Then that's what they're seeking. And it probably will be more efficient for them on the marketing front as well.
Right. And it's being direct and diplomatic at the same time.
So
Yeah.
Carolyn, what are topics on social media or digital media that clubs should focus on? Is it always just about service projects, or what fellowship things could we include?
Well, I think that one of the most fun things to do, of course, it's a little different now, but like if you have a fellowship event, check in on your club page at every fellowship event, or even check in on your club page at every meeting, but take a picture and share that, or share a live stream video. Because when you do that if you check in on your personal page, people are going to see what fun you're having. And that's going to expand with the power of social media. That will expand a lot. So check in on your personal page. You can also, and you can choose your club name when you check in, and that'll give exposure to your club. Just show people that you're having a great time, and that Rotary isn't just a bunch of stuffy old men smoking cigars around a poker table or whatever.
So how do we show a good picture nowadays, Carolyn? Like, what's acceptable from Rotary International?
Well, I think really a good picture, and I'm going to go ahead and do a screenshot right now, because I think this is a good picture to show. We've got a bunch of people hanging around, and so I'm going to post that in a little bit. That would be a good picture. I think another thing would be to make sure that you're practicing social distancing. In my personal opinion, I'm feeling that way, but everybody is different in that. Just we want to project that we're doing the right thing, and we don't want any of our Rotarians to get sick at all. So we have to lead by example, if you choose to.
And there's been, a lot of public image, almost like, oh, geez, right now, I've got to be very mindful. You just have to be. I'll even say, I got slapped on the wrist with a couple of things that we were posting on our district site that we've gotten a lot of, private comment about, which is okay. And that's great. Let's start that dialogue, because if you keep it inside, it's not gonna generate change.
Yeah.
So with that conversation, really kind of gave us a really good platform to understand what people want to see, which is safety and service, but keeping a distance.
Hey, Davey.
Right, and how to be innovative.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Marshall.
So also on the Brand Center, when we're talking about ideal photos, Rotary has this People of Action campaign going on right now. There are some photo guidelines on how to create the ideal People of Action shots. So go up to the Brand Center and look for that. It's up there, and it talks about the right angles and the right composition and stuff like that. So another resource when you're taking photos, especially around events and projects.
Thank you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, great resource, and it's a great way for people to just read it. It's not that hard to do, I promise you. My mom can do it, so she's very proficient with this to make sure everything looks good and balanced. And that's just take a look what Marshall says. I believe we'll put the link in the chat box so that everyone can see it. But that's excellent. Thank you.
Well,
Carolyn, also, this is Cheryl from the Port Orange, South Daytona. I'm the public relations coordinator, and thank you for your help on Facebook. A few things on Facebook, you can set the controls so you can pick and choose who want to see what comments, and same thing with the websites. What I did through the pandemic was I posted things around what our Port Orange City was doing. You know, not so much numbers, but like, just things with the pandemic that I thought the community should know about. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but in other words, we're just not promoting our club. It was just, my thought was just demonstrate to the community this is what Rotary is about, helping one another. So there was something about the pandemic that the city came out with about wearing masks maybe, or resources like mortgage assistance and rental assistance and things to the county, that a lot of programs were available, like the small business grants and things like that, besides our regular traditional stuff, kind of like thinking out of the box, like we're a community, so people can see more what we really are, like what you said, not just the older folks with the cigars and sitting there all day long. So I thought that
Cheryl,
was
let me ask you a question. With you
Sure.
doing that and making a sort of like a community news board, a digital community, did you see an influx of traffic? Did you get more likes or shares?
Oh yeah, we did. And I didn't post it like to get more members, we're careful about, I'm sure the other clubs are too, we're really careful, and I learned this, about we want people to come to our club, but you need to be invited. So like, I'm trying to be tactful about trying to attract new people into the club, because we did have a troll, I heard a couple years ago, with one of our members who was at the time, who was our city manager. So now I have to kind of be careful how I phrase things. But yeah, we have a strong following on our Facebook page. A lot of people, and I did get comments, thank you for posting and things like that. But I think every club should have your radar eyes and ears open for the trolls, which we all do. And it's even a little bit harder to be more selective bringing people in now, because we're limited, kind of like on the space wise, I think it's a little trickier with COVID. I think it's easier to invite somebody on a Zoom call or a phone call, and like the buddy system, like you were talking about earlier. I think that's great too. We've talked about that in our club. We haven't really started it yet.
Awesome. If everybody goes into the chat box, you'll see from Marshall some tips, and those are really great that you guys can you can look at. And these are good tips for what to post, and to ask yourself, will people in my community connect with what I'm putting out there? That's a really good question.
Yeah, we're participating in the Volusia Basket Parade. This is our third year our club is doing it. I think through the county, they've done it 25 years. We used to do baskets. Now it's going to be boxes because of COVID. Things have changed. And one thing we've asked the organization is, could we put a Rotary flyer in the box? And they said yes. So they can learn what Rotary is about and how we're helping them through the community. So this week I'm going to go on to the PR part and look for a flyer that I feel is appropriate, and we're going to get them printed, and we're going to put them in all the boxes along with the Thanksgiving letter with a gift card in there.
Excellent. Very, very good. Thank you.
That's really cool. One thing that you mentioned, Cheryl, that spurred a thought with me is that we're not having our Rhythm and Ribs Festival this year. In fact, we're probably postponing it until next November. But often I'll use that page. We just had a Greek festival in town, and often I'll use that page to wish other festivals best wishes, to create more community, because we're not really in competition with each other. We're all part of the same, we're shipmates, So to create camaraderie within the community is also something that is a great thing to do.
Yeah,
So,
we were able to at least do the our biggest two fundraisers of the year are casino night, which we just decided, I'm sure a lot of clubs do the same thing, postpone it this year, go back next year to the calendar, because once you start shifting events, then you overlap events. So to keep the calendar, like we were talking earlier, We were fortunate to have the golf tournament. Our golf course was open all through the pandemic, but as far as tournaments, we were like the first tournament that they actually had because so many people like rescheduled it. And we worked with the social distancing. We were able to, instead of having the banquet, we did the brown bag box lunch, and the people were happy because you don't have to hang around for another 2-3 hours. We were very successful with the tournament. That'll help the community, the Blue Chip but that Thanksgiving basket. We're going to do scholarships, and then we'll do it again in April, which is our regular calendar one. But those are only our 2 fundraisers of the year because of COVID. And like everybody else, even in business and nonprofits and Rotary World, we all have to be a little more creative in what we could do. And also to protect ourselves too. You know, we're seeing about half and half with our meetings. We are hybrid since the middle of August, and we're about half and half. So
yeah, and you know, it's no secret we have a lot of older members too, and you know, I don't want to lose anybody.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
the ones that are on Zoom, you know, I sent them a separate email with the Thanksgiving beret because we used to pass around the spreadsheet and this is what we need, and that's kind of how we did it. But now with COVID, we have to, you know, pivot things. So I spent a lot of time, you know, I split the spreadsheet up. We're committing to donating 48 boxes. And then I did 2 separate emails because just to kind of split things up, just to make it easier, you know. And then I did put in the email like, we can go pick up the items from you. Like somebody said, put a bag on the front porch. We'll zoom by and pick it up, you know. So it's challenging, but we've learned a lot. I think overall, in like every other club, we're navigating through all the obstacles, and the board's working really hard. I'm sure everybody else is on this call is the same way.
Well, thank you for that great input.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Pastor Jay about different forms of media. It's not all about social media. There still are press releases, there's still radio, there's still TV out there. So we're going to get our guru, our resident guru, to talk to us a little bit about how to handle different types of media. So thank you, everybody. Thanks, Marshall. Thanks, Carolyn.
So stay tuned on this Zoom call, though. You don't have to leave.
Carolyn, oh, am I on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Carolyn, what zone are we? 33 or 34? Because I'm going to register for the webinar.
Well, you know, that's a good question because I always have to look it up. I always have to Google it because I can't remember.
That's what I was doing.
Because they're clumped together.
I know.
We're 34.
Marshall, paging
What?
Marshall.
34.
34.
That's what I thought. I thought it'd be on my profile, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna take a quick little break here. So
Thanks,
I'm gonna
Carolyn. Thank you, Marshall.
Hey, Davey,
Mm.
tell me about your Peloton. How long do you ride it and everything?
I'm a little bit insane. As Claudia is laughing at me over there. I'm about 90 minutes a day.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a great little group of friends that all have it, and we sync our iWatches so that we challenge each other throughout the day. So it's pretty awesome.
That is amazing. And you lost a lot of belly fat. I remember seeing a
Yeah,
before and
I
after.
did. And I stopped drinking too. We did a 90-day no drinking challenge, and it has been insanely amazing. Like just to realize, like, I'm a fundraiser, so I would go out and, have a glass of wine. It's just normally what we do and talk in St. Augustine. So yeah, this has been, my sleep patterns have changed. And skin's cleared up. My hair got blonde. Yeah, sure.
Hey, so do you have to get used to that seat? Because I did a spin class one time and it really hurt.
Yeah, you do have to get used to it, and you can buy a seat cushion, which a lot of my ladies do. But yeah, you're either climbing or you're not in the saddle that long. It's the new dance party, girl. I'll get you. I got my mom. If I can get my mom, I can get anybody.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, all right, Pastor Jay, are you ready for us, my love?
I am here. I am here, and I'm excited. I have tons and tons of stuff to share. Some of it's on my screen. I don't want to miss it. But yes, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your seats. This is going to be an exciting ride, and it's going to be fun. Tons of information. So if you need any additional when I'm through, just message me, and I'll get over to you what I need. So what I'm going to be talking about today is elevating your rotary voice. Elevating your rotary voice with public image. And we talk about public image, what we can do. We have public image chairs, but there's several things that we have forgotten, or I should say, taken advantage of that we can do for free. So real quickly, I'm just going to talk about just a few ways to get some things out to raise and to elevate your rotary voice. And why is this so important? It's important because you are creating, if you're a public image chair, you are branding your club in your community. And it's just so important to raise that level and to elevate your rotary voice. So we talk about social media a lot. We do a lot of things with social media, but there are several other places that you can use, and some of them are free. Press releases, newspaper, TV, radio, community calendars. I'm going to go through all of these. The internet, YouTube videos, community center bulletin boards, other organizations, things like that. So you need to focus your coverage. Just choose carefully exactly what you want to cover, who you're trying to target, and this is important. Everyone should know your club. Everyone in your community should know something about your club. I believe that. Your club name should be on the tongue of every organization in your city and your county. You're going to go, that's crazy. But no, it can absolutely happen. It can. So how do you use newspaper or TV or radio? So let me just go through a couple of things. If you're trying to get airtime for an event or to send out a press release to your local TV station, and you're going, what, my little club on TV? Yes, absolutely, it can happen. You need to at least send it out about 2 days beforehand because news varies from day to day. A car crash can prevent stations from covering your event, but your chances are lower if they receive your press release the same day. When you're talking about TV, you don't want to give them 2 weeks notice or anything like that. It's going to be in the bottom of a pile. No one's looking at that. So at least for TV, give yourself a couple of days. And if you want to know what kind of information should I put out there? All right, so we've been doing citations and awards. Why not put that information out there? What if you're recognized or someone in your club is recognized for something? Put that information out there. And then you talk about radio press releases. I'm going to go through a couple of things on how you can write a written radio press release. So you need to identify a story or an angle for your press release. And once you identify it, I'm going to use for an example, here in Flagler County, all three of our clubs got together and they went around, they were talking about Polio Day. So they actually went to a couple of the cities and went to the county and said, hey, we want to make October 24th National Polio Day just for our county. That was huge because they went to the county, went to the city, had the proclamation. It was actually a countywide proclamation, citywide proclamations that was given. Things like that need to be followed up with a press release. It could be TV, it could be radio, or newspaper. So let's say you identify that story and then you want to write a press release. So you want to address the document like it's a formal letter. You place your contact information in the upper right-hand corner, the reader's name, the title and address, things like that. And you type words like for immediate release across the top. That's kind of cool. You create a headline. Now, I was going through some stuff online. I'm so glad you guys can't see my hands because I'm working it over here, really. Baby, I'm working my hands, right? I'm so glad you can't see them. But I found something online I thought would be helpful, not just with written radio press releases, but also on news releases. Let me see if I can pull that up. You're not going to be able to see it, but there is something, if you guys can jot this down, is headlines.sharethrough.com, headlines.sharethrough.com. And what this does, it helps to see how engaging your headline is. The headline to a written press release is important. And what you do is you type in, so I did a couple of things earlier this morning, like Flagler County declares Rotary World Polio Day to help end polio worldwide. Then you can analyze it and it tells you what your strengths are. So that particular one said, it gave me a 69 average. It tells you what your strengths are. It says limited use of positive sentiment, limited use of passive language, and then it has suggestions. Increase your headline length. Where's the brand? Use more alert words. Talk about the body. Use contact words. So the headline is probably one of the most important things that you will do. So that's a really quick thing. Again, it's how engaging is your headline. That's headlines.sharethrough.com. Y'all got that? Am I talking too fast? You guys know I'm from New York. I'll start talking real fast. So press releases is one of the easiest ways to engage different journalists and to get your news story published. And it's important. So you gotta get the attention. And once you get that going, and then you have the body. Mention in your body the story, the location, the date. You can abbreviate dates, use dashes, separate the location and the date, things like that. You gotta put this stuff in there, otherwise you will forget. And continue your press release by outlining all the relevant information. Use action words. What's going on? What's happening? And don't forget to have your contact information, and then contact the station and get its airing guidelines. So you really want to do that. I've got some tips I can send you if you want on how to create a press release, both by radio, by TV, and also in the newspaper. Press releases like this help build relationships. It really is. Journalists need stories. People are always trying to find interest stories. So it builds a relationship. So you need to build a relationship with those in your community, whether you have a local paper or even a statewide paper and newsprint. It also improves search engine optimization. So we talk about, someone were to Google your club and you've been in the newspaper, it's going to come up. And it helps you manage your image. Effective press releases is also a good way to control how your club is viewed. You can build your brand, your image, you can shape your public perception through this type of information and official statements. So it is important and it is great. Now, before you write a press release, you must do something newsworthy. Okay, you want to make sure it's something they're going to want to cover. They actually want to cover. As I mentioned, the headline, grabs people's attention. I just gave you a quick link on how you can do that. This title grabs people's attention, explain what you do. Don't forget the location. So maybe you have an event that you're doing, even if it's a golf tournament. It's all about how you write it. And please excuse the way I say this, but my mom used to tell me, people will eat poop on a plate if you present it right. So think about it. All about presentation. To you, it might be a small something, but you can word it and have a strong lead. Explain what's so newsworthy and why it is. And your body, make sure it's skimmable, you know, and don't forget to give your contact information. Don't forget to give your contact information. All right, so also I want to talk about community calendars. We have in our area, and you may have it in your area as well, community calendars. Community calendars are great. Our community calendar is aired on the radio. Did you know probably one of the news stations, or radio stations rather, where you are, probably have a similar community calendar, and it's free. You can advertise your events. This is different from a press release. This is just maybe an event that you're having or something special that's going on. You get it on the community calendar. Our community calendar is online, and also it is on air, and it's free. And they'll do it for like a week up to your event. So start checking in your local area. You can even announce your club meetings. I mean, why not? I mean, it's just a community calendar. You can put some things out there. Also, bulletin boards. I know that's old school and you're going, oh no, that's not going to work. But trust me, bulletin boards work. If you have a community center, you can just go and post a flyer of what's going on, and people will get it. Another way to elevate your voice, and this is something that I've been trying to encourage, not just my club to do, but I've discussed it with several different organizations, is I find that our club, and all Rotary clubs, they contribute to other organizations. So I'm going to use Davey as an example. Davey, you have the Ed Foundation where you are, right? So let's say your Rotary club gave to your foundation. Do you have your Rotary club listed on your website? Probably not. A lot of times we forget to follow up. So if you're giving to different other organizations and other places, check to see if you're listed as a sponsor or a donor on their website. That again raises and elevates your voice. It raises your PR, and people go, there's that Rotary Club again. They're everywhere. They're doing all kinds of great things in our community. It's not just about them. They're out there doing stuff for other people. That's a common mistake most Rotary clubs forget to do. You give, but you don't follow up and go, hey, am I being recognized? I've also found out that a lot of these organizations put their sponsors and their donors in print material. So when they're having events, you could be listed on there for something you contributed months ago without even buying ad time or space. Why is that important? That's important because it lifts your brand, it helps your public image, and you're connected to things that matter in your community. And guess what? It's free advertising. If you are contributing time, let's say you're volunteering time with another organization. Rotary does a lot of partnerships, which I think is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Does tons of partnerships with other organizations and some other community leaders. Make sure you are also recognized there as well. They're not thinking, it's not that they're intentionally looking you over or skipping you. They're not thinking about it. You have to think about it for yourself. Another way to get it out there, a lot of organizations, I'm going to mention one. We have a club here in town. They put out a newsletter. Why not send something to these other organizations that are printing out newsletters? Either they're emailing newsletters or they're printed newsletters. You know, sometimes these things are online. You can have a little blurb of your organization or your club placed in those newsletters. You know, say, oh, Rotary Club of Flagler County did XYZ. Rotary Club of Flagler County cleaned up the street in front of our building, whatever. If you have a road cleanup, regardless of where you are, of course, you see, guys, I'm putting all these plugs in for Rotary Club of Flagler County, right? But no matter what you do, it can be mentioned. You know, these are things that will elevate your Rotary voice and will increase your public image. Increase your public image. Mask, especially with COVID-19. Several clubs have done so many things with COVID-19. Why not? Why shouldn't you go ahead and put that information out there? Put a positive, put a spin, show the pictures of how you're masking up and social distancing. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. Yep, you got a question?
We have a question in the chat box from Sam. Sam would like to know how current, Pastor Jay, how current should the press release information be?
Well, I mean, you want it to be, well, it depends. I'm going to put it to you that way. It depends on exactly what you're trying to target and what you are trying to do. So for instance, you can, if something's coming up and you just recently got an award, that's what I consider current. But let's say your club for the past 2-3 months have been engaging in an activity that's going to grab the attention of your community. You can absolutely say, you can have something for a few months. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. So you don't want to put the press release out there if you're still working on something. You can say we're doing this. It depends on who you're trying to attract, who you're trying to capture, and the purpose of it. You don't want to put it out there too soon, is what I'm saying. So
like in the press release, would you kind of spin it to like for more information about this ongoing effort, something like that?
You can add that in the press release. Again, the headline is targeted. So Davey, help me make up something real quick because you got wonderful hair. Okay, so we can say, Davey Hartzell changes his hair from brown to blonde. Watch this amazing action here at blah, blah, blah. And everyone's going to go, where is this? And they'll read the body of the text and you can have a website, a link or something where people can go to get more information.
Okay, very cool. And
yeah, people's attention spans are very, very short.
Could you also highlight for us, because you do a lot of live video, and I know live is really intimidating to a lot of people because you have to be on point. So can you kind of tell us like your process and like how do you prepare for a live video?
Oh my goodness. I was very intimidated by live video, and sometimes I get a little overwhelmed with it because you want it to be perfect. No one is looking for live video to be perfect. They're looking for live video to be honest. They're looking for it to be honest. So get excited. So when I'm doing a live video, I'm always trying to think of something that's going to excite the audience, that's going to trigger them. If you aren't engaged and if you're not excited, the people watching you are not going to be interested in what you're saying or selling. So I would try to think of something. So just get on live video and just start saying, hey, this is a great event we're having there. Want you here, need you here. This is what's happening. If people see your energy, that energy is contagious.
When you were talking about earlier about putting your club in front of the actual piece that you're putting at. So would you start the live video introducing yourself like, hi, I'm Pastor Jay from Rotary Club of Flagler County. Like, how do you get that branding out?
I do. And, what you can do is, and I know a lot of people do this, Carolyn does this, you can put in the edit box what you're talking about. Because sometimes people will read that before they even listen to the video. I know my phones are muted. And sometimes people will jump in the middle of your video. So often you'll find myself repeating myself in the video. I do that on purpose, not to irritate people. So I will do an introduction. I'll go a few minutes in, and then I'll almost do another introduction in a different way, because you don't know when people are going to start watching your video. So it's always best to try to put that little caption in at the top of what you're talking about or what this is going to be about. And then people can decide if they're going to watch it or want to watch it or not. If they click on it and it's boring, after a few seconds, they're going to cut it off. I just did one the other day and I went, I sure wish I had not done that because it was not interesting at all. But
So what do you do in that situation? That's a very good point you're bringing up. Would you just delete that content, or would you keep it as, just to have content to have content? What's your advice?
I usually, I leave it. I leave it and I'll edit the top of what it is. Because especially if people are going to go back and look at it later, or they see it, they'll read the content. If it's right in that timeline or it's live video that haven't been saved yet, then at the end, I'll try to do a little snippet to try to make it a little energizing. I did that the other day. I was recording something for Rotary and it was like, I'm sitting there going, this is a great achievement, but no one's really going to watch this because it's not that good. So what I did is at the end, I grabbed Roseanne Stockton when she came out and I said, hey, let's talk about what just went on, so hopefully somebody will grab the end of the video.
Absolutely. That's a really, really awesome point, because live video is something that is an element out there that you can capitalize on and can make something really great. So Pastor Jay, you have a radio show that is followed by several Rotarians all over the district. What can a Rotary Club do to get on your show or to at least talk about some initiatives? Because I think people really would like to have an opportunity to discuss, what's going on with their clubs. Talk about radio.
Well, let's talk about it in a different thing. I am a member of a Rotary Club, and every Rotary Club have members. And I always like to say, you've got to assess your resources within your club. And not just the club, within the district. So my radio show is open to anyone in Rotary that ever want to come on my show and talk about whatever they want to talk about. If you're a Rotarian, you can come on my show. So it's easy to reach out to me, but I want you to look within your own club and look for other resources. You may have someone in your club that may be with TV or may have other different skills and things that can use to help elevate your PR. Radio is just one of those assets that Rotary has. And because I'm part of this district and I'm a Rotarian, anyone that calls me and say, I want to go on your radio show, you can. Bill Butler was just here a minute ago with another organization. We're sponsoring a fantasy light display, an organization that I'm with. And so I was writing him the check for that particular organization. And he turned and he looked at me. He said, hey, when can we come on your radio show to talk about fantasy lights? He already knows that I'm an asset to him. I'm part of his Rotary Club, and that's available. So that's what we have to start looking at, is seeing the resources within our own club, to how we can raise our own PR, our own Rotary voice within our community by the assets that they have. Back to you again, Davey. I mean, what you're doing, hey, that's great. You're everywhere. You're fundraising. Once we contribute to you, I want to see our name everywhere your name is. That makes sense? We start linking, and that helps.
I love it. I love it. I want to open the floor up to if anyone has any questions for us. All right. Well,
if there aren't any questions, does that mean I did a good job, or were they bored?
Amazing job, my love. Thank you very much for helping us today.
Oh, look at that Bob and Pat Knight. I tell you, they're amazing. Hey, guys.
So that's basically what we wanted to present today. And we can have a nice break before our next session after this. But we really wanted to get to media is less often about crafting a single message. It's now used and consumed by building an audience and connecting groups of people, AKA our Rotary clubs. So finding effective voices within your clubs, highlighting members' birthdays, amazing thing to do because it draws them to what you're putting out there, tagging people into posts and really kind of creating a digital community, because let's face it, this is where we are nowadays. So yeah, if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'll still stay on the line, and we can have a little break before our next session. I believe it starts at around 11:05. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Davey, there's one thing that comes to mind. Is one time there was something that was about 2 or 3 weeks old, and someone suggested, "Oh, we should do a press release." Does old news make it to the press release? Does that fall in that category?
Absolutely, because
Mhm,
it
it
highlights
does.
a moment. It highlights a particular champion moment within your club. So this is what we did for the beach cleanup, and this is the amount of money that we raised. And then you're putting it out there to the community, basically to say, this is what you supported, and this is the result. So yeah, old news is always good. If it's really epic like that, it's definitely worth putting out there. Pastor
Yeah.
Jay, did you have something to add?
Yeah, any news that's good news. I mean, there's no timeline with that. So you can put that out there. The only time that you have to look at the timeline if it's an actionable item that has a clock on it.
Yeah.
You know, but any kind of news that's good news. I mean, you can even think of like maybe it's your club's 50th anniversary. I mean, just think of little things that you can highlight. That's a monumental thing. 10-year anniversary, regardless of what it is. Maybe you have a Rotarian that's been in Rotary for 60 years, whatever. I mean, just think of some great things that you can put out there. But yeah, any kind of news that's good news, there's no time limit on that.
Miss Cheryl, you had a question.
Yes, Pastor Jay, what are your thoughts about like we had a golf tournament recently, we were very successful. I wanted to put in like, we raised $10,000, but the club didn't want to put a dollar amount in. They felt that the public didn't have to know. My thought was, I think people should know what we raised to encourage it so people continue doing it, but they wanted to keep it confidential. And when I sent the press release in, the journalist wrote back to me, "Do you know how much money you raised?" And I said, "No, I don't."
Yeah, well, that's tricky. I mean, you always have to respect what your club want to do, but
Exactly.
but journalists, they're gonna want to know. I
Right.
was in a, how much money did you raise? Because I do fundraising myself, because that gets people excited. I think if you just relay that message to your club and for them to understand that that's what's going to be asked, even if you put the press release out, it's going to come back and go, and get them to just educate them a little bit more, then they may be a little more apt to share it. But I do understand the confidentiality and not wanting people to know. But maybe you can just word the press release differently. So what did you do with the money? Instead of say you raised $10,000, let's say you sent someone to college. So just word the press release differently and just say that you sent someone to college or whatever.
Oh yeah,
That makes sense. You know what I mean? Or say it was it was a scholarship over, or maybe you can do a different amount, like we raised over this amount without giving the exact amount of money. But I would just educate and just speak with your club and let them know the importance, because that's what's going to grab people attention when they're reading it.
Right. So
that $10,000 is huge.
Right, but I have no idea. I have to find out the final number because I wouldn't know myself. But we did I did put in there that we're supporting, local scholarships, and we're also supporting the Volusia County Basket Parade. So people are seeing we're supporting the community. We just didn't have the exact dollar amount in there.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, you can always give an approximate, raised over this amount, or that I've had to do that.
I think personally, I mean, I agree with them about not putting, if we raise 10,000, but I think if we put over a certain amount, I think it just generates more interest.
I've done that. It works.
Right?
Yeah, something over the certain amount you did the year before.
Exactly.
We raised more money than last year. Keeping it neutral. I can see why your club has information too.
Yeah, I can respect that.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, that Rotary Club just got 50 grand, and there's other nonprofits around your community that are like, can't raise that kind of money. And you don't want to make them feel bad either. So being neutral, yeah, you kind of want to, because then people will feel that, that you want them to donate to you.
Oh yeah, I just went with the flow. I just went with it, because these people have more experience than I do. So they have their reasons. I just, okay, fine, no worries, But also, I think too, when you put the dollar amount, it could open up. Oh well, like they raise so much money, they can help us now, because I think, as we all know, that a lot of clubs still can do fundraising, still do things within the club with limitations, but a lot of other nonprofits are really struggling. Like we got approached last week about sponsoring a boys little league team for next year to go up to Coopersville or Cooperstown, actually, we did it one year because a club member's son was on the team. So, we're kind of looking at that kind of closely. Do we want to do that or do something different with the money? So, we could kind of go both ways.
Yeah,
This-
and putting those numbers out there makes it so specific. I see exactly what you're saying, Shirley. You bring up a very good point.
Yeah. So, you live and learn, right?
Well, there's an old story about a church that had creaky boards when you walked in, and they never told anybody the mortgage was paid off, and people wanted to know why. He said, because people are going to stop giving if they think we don't need the money.
Yeah.
So when you start putting big money out there, people oftentimes go, oh, I don't need to donate to that organization. They have a lot of money. So I always did approximates, or just focused on what we use or what we did with the money.
That's exactly what we do. What we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
Hopefully it gets in. I haven't seen it yet, but it takes time.
All right. So, Carolyn, do we stay in this room or do we move over to a different?
No, we go back to where we started.
Okay. So everyone has to exit out of here and then get to the other link.
And that starts at 11:15.
Oh,
Now,
wow. We pushed it back.
It's a big deal for us to have Michael McGovern.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
He's an international chair for Polio Plus, and with this being, Polio Day, holy cow, that's a feather in. I think that Jeff Michaelman got him in Jeff's cap. So I guess we
Davey.
took a little bit of a break, but
Davey.
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to mention too, I forgot to, I have deleted some Facebook Live videos.
You have?
They were bad.
So you essentially do. So if there's bad content that just doesn't work, it's okay to delete.
Yes, I try not to. I try to make it work, but there have been some real bombs out there. I've had to delete.
And that's what I'm trying to drive home, that it's okay to reset your content. You don't have to go with, if it's not good, don't put it out there.
You know what I have done though? I've been able to edit and taken like a portion of it and put it out there.
Saving it to your camera roll,
Mm-hmm.
and then editing it, and then that's a great solution.
Yeah, that's another idea. So I tried that. That's my last resort if I can't do anything. But yeah, I have had to delete some bad ones. We should have some of ours. I think when I was with Carolyn, we had an awesome time. We should do when I was Lady Flamingo.
Oh, I definitely have a blooper reel going.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. You're probably just hanging on.
We're going to save that for the annual, but yeah, definitely it's coming forward.
Yeah, that's going to be funny.
So, all right, everybody. Well, I will. I'm going to flip my my room over to the original room. That's the original link that you clicked on for the welcome, and I'll see you guys over in the next.
This is really good today. Thank you, everybody.
All right,
thank you. Thanks for being here.
And thank you guys that contacted me privately. You can call me on the number I shared.